Let's be honest, right now you're probably asking yourself one very simple question. Is mortgage brokering actually a stable career, or am I about to just walk into something unpredictable, stressful, and financially risky? Because on one side, you're hearing people say, it's flexible, it's got high income, it's uncapped earnings. And on the other side, you are thinking to yourself, what if I don't get clients? What if I fail my exams? What if I leave my job and nothing ever replaces that income? And that tension, that uncertainty, it's exactly where most beginners sit. And if you don't get clarity on this early, you'll either hesitate forever or you're going to jump blindly in and you're going to struggle for a long time. So in this video, I'm going to give you the answer straight, okay? I'm not going to hype it up. I'm not going to give any fluff or rubbish or jargon. I'm just going to give you the reality on whether mortgage brokering is stable, or more importantly, how to make it stable for you. See, here's the truth that most people will not tell you in this industry, and that is that mortgage brokering is not a stable career by default, but it can be, okay? It can be one of the most stable careers you'll ever build if you approach it in the right way. And that's where most people go very, very wrong, in my opinion. They treat it like a job when it's actually a system. So let me explain it a little bit further, because anyone who knows me knows I love a system. So when you first step into the world of mortgages, everything is going to feel uncertain. You're studying for your CMAP, modules, highlighting everything, but still not knowing what actually matters. You're thinking, am I even going to pass this exam? Then you pass, and suddenly new problems are going to appear. Now you're qualified, but you've got no clients at all, nothing at all. You open your laptop, maybe even your CRM, and you just stare at it. What do I actually do now? That's the big question. And that is where that instability starts to significantly creep in, because income doesn't come from being qualified, okay? Income comes from having a consistent, predictable system. And most beginners, they don't have one at all, okay? They jump between ideas all the time. One day it's social media, the next day it's asking friends, then it's LinkedIn, and then thinking about maybe I should buy leads or maybe speak to an estate agent. You see, there is no structure there at all. And without structure, nothing, and I mean nothing, is going to feel stable. So let's flip this question a little bit. Let's play around with it a bit. Mortgage brokering isn't stable by default at all, but what actually can create stability. So there are three things, in my opinion, that do this: consistency, simplicity, and control. So let's break this one down even further. First, we have consistency. If your lead flow depends on random activity, you will feel unstable. Simple. If you post when you feel like it, message people occasionally, follow up inconsistently, you'll experience what most beginners go through. And that is this: silence. Deadly silence, like crickets. They're going to be ghosting you. One deal this month, nothing the next month. And that's where all that doubt is going to creep in and seep into your psyche. And you're going to say to yourself, maybe this isn't for me. But it's not a talent problem, okay? It's a consistency problem. Stable brokers, they do boring things every single day consistently. I do boring things every single day consistently. They don't rely on motivation. They rely on structure. They know exactly what they're doing every single day. Second thing then is simplicity. One of the biggest reasons people feel overwhelmed in this industry is because they are doing too much, or in my opinion, actually trying to do too much. They're watching 5 different YouTube videos teaching you all different things. You're hearing 10 different strategies that could work, trying to build a website, start an Instagram page, understand lenders, learn compliance, speak to clients, and your brain, it just freezes. It kind of, what's it called? Analysis paralysis. You end up doing absolutely nothing, or worse, you do a bit of everything, but nothing actually done properly. And that's the worst place you can be, because that's not a stability issue. That's an overload issue. The brokers who build stable careers, really stable careers, they focus on one simple system, one way to getting leads, one way of having those conversations, one clear process from first message to submitted application. That is it. Nothing more fancy than that. There's no chaos. There's no bouncing around. There's no jumping and hoping that something's going to be better. Maybe there's just a better way out there. It's just pure repetition. The third one is control. Now, this is the one that nobody actually talks about, or I've noticed not often anyway. And that is, if your income relies on things you don't control, you'll always feel unstable. So an example of this would be if you rely purely on estate agents feeding you leads, which is common, by the way. If you're employed and you rely on the company giving you clients, or if you rely on referrals that hopefully might one day come in, then you've handed your stability to somebody else. And that is dangerous, very dangerous, in fact, because the moment that flow stops, those leads start going through, so does your income. And stable brokers, They do the opposite. They create control. They know how to generate their own leads fast, effectively. They know how to start conversations well so that clients actually want to talk to them and deal with them. They know what to say on those first calls. So even if everything else disappeared, they could still rebuild it. And you see that is pure, real stability. Now let's address the big elephant in the room as well, which is the one that no one talks about, but we really want to talk about, and that is income. Because this is what you really are worried about, isn't it? Let's be real, okay? Can I actually earn consistently? Can I make money? And at the beginning, let me tell you, the answer to that is going to be no, not at all. And that's really important for you to understand, by the way, is that your first 3 to 6 months will likely feel very, very inconsistent, both with clients and with income. You might go weeks without anything actually happening. You might speak to people who then just disappear into the ether. You might overthink every single little bit, worrying what you're saying. Is it going to be the wrong thing? Is it the right thing? Do I sound silly? That's completely normal, by the way. But here is what most people get very, very wrong, is that they interpret early inconsistency as long-term instability, which is not that at all. And those are not the same things, like I've just said. Early instability is a learning phase. Everyone has to go through that, all of us, me included. But long-term instability is a system failure. If you build the right habits early, your income becomes predictable. Easily, not overnight, but inevitably, okay? Let me give you an example of a simple structure that you could follow. Now, if you're new or thinking of starting in this industry, so focus on this, which is the 30, 60, 90-day mindset. So for the first 30 days, focus on clarity and education. So you've passed your exams, but now commit to trying to learn and study around different lenders. Don't jump between resources. Just pick one method, stick to it, and start to upskill yourself around what you should be doing in the industry. Second 30 days then is conversations. So not branding, not perfection, just conversations, okay? Reach out to people and then have a simple, honest chat with them. Talk to them about what you do. Just say, look, I'm newly qualified. I'm helping people understand their options. I'm happy to guide you if you want. So you don't need to be perfect at all. You just have to do it. You just need to be out there, being active and pushing your kind of skills forwards. Then the final 30 days is refinement. So start improving your process. So what questions are people asking you consistently? Where are the conversations dropping off in the process? What objections keep coming out again and again and again? This is where stability is going to start to settle, because now you're not guessing anymore. Okay, there's no like, what will they do? You're actually refining the process because you've spent that time learning, then you've spoken to people, and now you're actually building that refinement. Now let's talk about confidence for a moment as well, because this is another hidden factor in stability. If you don't trust yourself, everything else, and I mean everything else, is going to feel uncertain. You're going to hesitate to post content. You're going to overthink your messages you send to clients. You're going to avoid calls all the time. And then you say, oh, look, there's no stability in the industry. I hate this job. But the reality is you're just not taking enough action, nowhere near enough, because confidence doesn't come before stability. It never comes before stability. It comes from repetition. The more you're doing it, doing things again and again and again until it becomes normal. You see, your first clients will feel scary. They're terrifying. I remember that. But your 10th will feel like routine. And your 15th will just feel predictable. And that's how stability is built in your business. So is mortgage brokering a stable career? Well, here's the honest answer. It's unstable for people who rely on hope. And it's incredibly stable for people who build systems. If you expect instant results, you're going to struggle straight out the gate. If you avoid structure, you're going to feel lost and confused. And if you chase every new idea, you're going to stay inconsistent. But if you simplify, and I mean truly simplify, if you stay consistent and you build control within your business or your processes, you can create a career where you know where your next client is coming from, where you know exactly how to handle all the conversations you have with them, and where you know how to recover from quiet periods, which happens all the time in this industry. And that is where everything changes, everything completely. Because stability isn't about certainty, it's about predictability. So if you're sitting there right now, maybe halfway through your CMAP studying with notes everywhere and sure about what to focus on, or maybe you've passed, but you're starting on an empty pipeline, wondering how anyone is actually going to make this work, just understand this one thing that I wish I knew, which is that you don't need more information. You need more structure. You don't need to feel ready. You need to start moving, and you don't need 10 strategies at all. You need one done consistently. Now, money is one of those things people stress about the most. If you want to know how mortgage brokers get paid, how that's broken down, the different ways you can make income, I did a deep dive on that. You can check it out on screen right now.